Are you going round in circles? That's the question of this morning on this fine day at 8 a.m. Now, as I walk up and down this path to and from the gym, I very, very regularly come upon this middle-aged gentleman walking in the opposite direction, and he is most certainly 50 years old. He's very boyish looking, very well kept, old school. He always wears a tie and a shirt and like a pullover, pressed trousers, and he's got shiny black cheap shoes. So all the things he buys, or probably his mother buys, come from like Marks and Spencer's. And he's very fragile and weak looking, and he walks very light, and he's probably about my height, slender, and his shoes, they're the sort of shoes that don't crease. You know, when you've known people, they've got these skinny, weak feet, and they never like fill out a shoe, and the shoe never accommodates the foot and becomes characteristic with all the wrinkles and everything. You know, when you've got a decent foot in a shoe, particularly like a leather shoe, then you know it crinkles and creases in character, doesn't it? Well, this character, his shoes are like Charlie Chaplin's boots. They don't crease. And it's kind of like he's so light and so weak, and his feet are so long and bony, but they're just rattling around inside these shoes his mother's bought him, which were 2 sizes too big, and they look very large. Now, probably most of us have known elderly men that live with their mother. And of course, these men are very strange, and lots of them are very dangerous. The Yorkshire Ripper from Great Britain, he lived with his elderly mother. He was a lorry driver and lived with his elderly mother, and the elderly mother doesn't ask where you come and where you go, and that sort of thing. And even if she thought something was a bit peculiar, she's probably so old that she never talks to anybody, she would never say it anyway. Such a drone that she'd never, so Jack the Ripper, because he was a lorry driver, then he was out at all hours, and that's why he got away with killing 13 women, until he got too cocky in the head and started to send the police tapes telling them that they will never catch him. And how he actually got caught, it was a random check, a random stop, and in the back of his car he had an engineering hammer and a large like hooking type tool, and the policeman thought, well, we know that all these women get their heads smashed in with one of these engineering hammers, so I think we'll arrest him and then we'll see what will happen. And then it turns out to him. Anyway, by the by, men that live with their mother. So I've often been curious about this guy, and we've never looked at each other, but this morning I saw him coming down. I thought, today I'm going to talk to him, and just as I thought I'm going to talk to him, he looks at me and says, good morning. And he thought, oh, good morning. And I said, so I see you all, we see each other all the time, so why are you walking up and down here? And he stood over the other side of the pavement. He instantly got distance from me. When he was coming down, he was on the trajectory to pass me about 4 feet away. But when I stopped, he took several feet back, so he couldn't go any further back for the past edge. And but he was open and he was pleasant. And he said, I don't know, I don't know, I just do it. Sometimes I do it 6 times a day, and I don't know why I do it. I just go round and round and round. And I'm like, you don't know why you do it? And he says, no. And I'm like, well, I know why I'm doing it, because I'm walking to and from the gym. He says, I just walk round. I walk round here, and he told me the roads he walks around, and it's a good circle. It's at least 3 miles. And I used to walk that when, I was doing my walk in the winter time, when I needed to get out of the apartment and to get some exercise and some fresh air and just get out, get out of here. And so when I was going through my Dark Night of the Soul, I used to do that every single day without fail for at least an hour in all weathers. And so this guy, he looks like he lives with his mother. He looks like his mother arranges and fits his tie, most certainly presses his shirts and all that different sort of stuff. And he evidently isn't working or doing anything like that. There was a time when I thought, well, he might have a bit of a job, the sort of guy that does volunteering, because he's not all there. So he would probably walk to a charity shop and do volunteering a couple of hours a day or something. But no, he just walks around and around and around, always very, very impeccably dressed in like a pullover, that sort of thing. The V-neck pullovers with his shirt and tie. Well, what can we make of that, people? He offered and he professed that he doesn't know why he does it. Doesn't seem to have any idea. He never said, well, just bored, or get me exercise, or get out the house. No, he couldn't offer up any of those explanations. The only explanation was he didn't know why he did it. I just go round and round and round. Well, if he goes round and round and round, sometimes like 6 times a day, that's like 15 miles, something like that. And I don't know whether he just walks up and down here sometimes, endlessly, but he's obviously walking away from something. Like when people have anxiety or mental issues or something like that. Most certainly when I was in my Dark Night of the Soul, you kind of just, you want to walk it off. You just by getting emotion, it kind of like is a little bit of alleviation. You feel as if like you're going forward towards something and away from something, when in actual fact you're not, because your mind is in the same place. But there's some sort of satiation, gratification, purification going on when we are walking, exercising out in nature. And so, when people are depressed and all they want to do is go to bed, well that's... What's up with him? Like lots of human beings, scared of his own shadow. Goodness me. So, before I encountered this chap, I was thinking about making a video about the things that we do on a regular basis. Somewhat like automaton. I mean, I walk up and down here like an automaton, but at least I have a purpose. I'm not just wandering, and I know why I'm doing it, And I'm thinking, well, dedication and repetition. If we want to achieve anything, then we just keep doing something, don't we? We keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And I'm hopefully going to be uploading a song today, which I've been working on seemingly endlessly, maybe for this past month. It's Sit Down by James, and I've put a couple of cover versions up already, but I wasn't singing it that well, and the voice was weak and probably pitchy as usual, But within this month, I've learnt to do something with my voice from my singing vocal lessons and what I've been learning on the internet. And so now I can actually sing this song in the original key, whereas before I wasn't. I was singing it 2 notes down. And so something most certainly changing. And we'll look at that, and it's down to sheer determination. With me, it's absolute sheer determination. It's blood and sweat, because I never had an ounce of skill in vocal ability or musically playing the guitar, anything like that. I really had to earn what I've got. And so we can easily see how people fall by the wayside and they don't ever accomplish anything, because to accomplish something is a lifestyle. It's a lot of sacrifice. You do things when you don't necessarily want to. You feel obliged to. You feel committed to. You envision an end game, and it could be many years off. Really, because if you just start to sing or play piano or guitar, then being an accomplished player or vocalist is many years off. You know, with lots of people it's 10 years off, and that's practicing every single week for several days. So we don't take these tasks on lightly. We something inside just drives us, and there's something inside which has driven me for many years. I first bought my first guitar when I was 18, and you know, trying to sing and play, and then I stopped and started, you know, for many years. But I've most certainly put well over 10 years solid into it, and finally getting somewhere now. And so, yeah, things pay off. And then, you know, with the body, looking after the body for all these years, I've been doing it 45 years, people. 47 years since I was 15. I first bought a set of weights when I was 15. And so, lots of people they don't want to do things like that. And then when I put up that video yesterday about, you know, whitening the teeth and you know, general body hygiene and health and well-being, well, someone in the comments was just like, oh, just embrace your old, you know, whatever teeth. And I'm like, why would anybody want to do that if the option is just kind of like 2 weeks of dedication, just doing something like wearing trays or putting on, you know, stickers and all this? And why would anybody want to have brown black teeth for the rest of their lives when they could just remedy it simply like that? Well, obviously the mindset of this person was, oh, fuck it, and probably a heavy coffee drinker and a smoker, and has resigned him or herself to that fate, because there's no point in them keep whitening their teeth, because they're never going to stop drinking and smoking, and so they're always going to be fighting a loser. And so people give up, don't they? And that's the difference. People give up. Now, there was a time in my life when I looked at my body and I felt my body, and I'm asking questions like, is this it now? Is this old age setting in? Should I just throw the towel in and just not bother about it? At the end of the day, you know, having a very trim stomach is mostly vanity, isn't it? I mean, you do feel much better, but there is a vanity aspect to it. I mean, at my age now, the vanity is a small facet of it, whereby when I was younger it used to be higher, because of course I was in the market for, you know, sexual relationships and wanted to look my best and all that sort of stuff, wanted to really be able-bodied and confident, and that's just how I was. But now, you know, I'm not in the market anymore, and I'm like, well, who would I be doing it for then? Because I'm not interested in what other people think about me. Well, I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it for how I feel. Realizing that, yes, I've still got the dedication, I've still got the discipline. I really enjoy it. And, you know, I walked into the shop over the road this morning, and the guy's like, you looking good. And so, and he's behind the counter, an Indian guy with a big fat belly, and telling me he wants to lose weight when he's eating a pasty in the morning. And I'm like, if you want to lose weight, then you want to start applying yourself, because that is the last thing you'd ever should be eating. Well, what am I going to eat then? I'm hungry. And I'm like, learn about it, dude. Eat a couple of eggs or something like that. Or just try to have a bit of discipline and fast. He doesn't do any exercise. People are not prepared to do anything like that. And that's the thing. That they look at other people who have accomplished something, and maybe they've convinced themselves that they would never want to do that, they would never want to achieve anything, because they realise that they just don't have the discipline and the mettle to be able to do anything like that. And so we look around, and that's what we see, isn't it? We see mediocrity. But I wasn't destined for mediocrity. I wasn't destined for any meteoric fame either, or being world renowned. I was just destined to have a high level of management of this earth experience. And I'm very, very happy with that. I don't need notoriety, and I don't need fame, and I don't need anything else, because I'm pretty sure that all those things, they would get in the way of what I'm doing now, which takes an enormous amount of dedication. And I was speaking to somebody yesterday about my dreadlocks and that, and how do you do this and this and the other. And I said, it's a lot of work. It takes an enormous amount of work to look this scruffy. It really does. To have dreadlocks, for at least the first year, the maintenance is ongoing. Every single day you've got to be needling in the smaller hairs, and then you've got to be pulling dreads apart, and then you've got to be trimming up and rearranging and doing all these different sorts of stuff. Dreadlocks, they are a work of art, and even though you may think that somebody sleeps under a hedge and never washes their hair, no, we wash our hair and we manicure our hair more than most other people. And but finally I was thinking about intuition. Intuitively we know many things, and our intuition guides us if we do the initial training. The initial training, like I was speaking about yesterday in the churchyard with this the yoga of Jesus, we have to decide that we want to enter into ourselves and spirit en masse. We have to decide that we want to get to the root of what we are, and I suppose initially there's an intuitive spark which is suggesting this, is offering, and then the ego has the option of accepting, working with it, or turning it down. Most people's egos turn it down. Most people, I would think, don't even hear their intuition because they're too bound by the ego. And maybe this whole tuning into the intuition is a spiritually awakening thing. You have to have been through a good deal of trauma before spirit starts to speak with you, and opens up the portal to spirit, which is intuition. And I've said in my book that the language of God, people, is intuition. And that's exactly what Paramahansa Yogananda was saying in this book when I was reading it yesterday. That's how we know what we are cosmically, and that's how we know what we are like God consciously. It's via the intuition, which has nothing to do with the ego.